Greetings and salutations, y'all. Another episode of Fangs Up here, and we're doing another live episode. I will apologize for my tardiness, but it was Sunday. A couple things happened. But we are still going to talk about FAMU athletics and some of the things that have been going on this week. We're going to start off by talking about FAMU's baseball camp. We had a little prospect camp for recruits that are interested in going to Florida A&M University. We also had two signings come over from the basketball team. Very important. And I'm going to move this over these notes. We're also going to end up going inside the den and talking about who's the football player you need to know about. Who's the guy? Who is three guys that you need to know from the FAMU football team? All right. With no further ado, if I can get this thing to move over, and that's one of the fun parts of live podcasting when your mouse wants to act funny. Anywho's, with the baseball program, as mentioned, FAMU baseball had a baseball camp, and honestly, that's what needs to happen. FAMU baseball needs to continue to grow and to become a better, viable product that is competitive in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. I don't know if you feel like me, but this past season, our first season was a good one. It wasn't the success that we may have all wanted to be. We didn't win the conference, but we did finish in second in the division. It's kind of been a pattern through the year, finishing second quite a bit. We did win volleyball. But again, for a team in its first year in the conference and then playing a different brand of ball than what you're used to, I'm considering it a success. And we were able to see and have the opportunity to have some of the potential Rattlers come out there and show their talents in front of our baseball coaches. And I'm excited for that. I definitely hope that that turns into some benefit and becomes something that allows us to get some recruits. And speaking of recruits, I'm telling you, Coach Pillow must have been watching that show that Off Script did because Scotty roasted her pretty good. And she comes away with three. I might be wrong, could be four, but three off the top of my head signings. And we had four in total, so it was three. One of them was somebody who committed about a month or two ago, the lady from the College of Charleston. Then we get a Purdue transfer, and we get two more. And I'm excited. I'm happy for it. The first one is Yvette Subarets. She's a 5'9" guard. She's from Spain. She's a Ball State transfer. And if you look at her stats, uh, they are what they are. I mean, she doesn't score a lot. None of her games have I seen her score really more than 10 points, but she seems like she's consistent. And that's something that FAMU needs. One of the problems that we had last season was the lack of availability within our roster. We had quite a few students who just related to COVID and other issues just weren't able to finish the season. And they weren't able to show up at the most crucial time, which was during the season. So all of that 3-win season is not just because maybe coach wasn't a good coach. A lot of it is related to the fact that there were injuries, there was health issues, there was COVID protocols and things of that nature. So consequently, you're not going to be able to have a really great season when you can't stay healthy. And that's just is what it is. So I'm glad to see that we are addressing our roster issues. And we got another one. Molly James. She's a 5'9" guard from Bristol, England, Charnwood College, and she was selected for the FIBA European Championships in 2020, which didn't get to happen. But it's good to be able to have someone that maybe one of our 3-point shooters. Maybe she can. be a volume shooter or somebody that can help generate some points. Now there is a YouTube video of her up, and I don't know if I can get that to play for us. Let me see over here. I'm just going to use the handheld and see if I can share the screen, because that's one of the things that as a team, FAMU definitely needs. We need to be able to have someone who can score points and who can make some things happen. Now, this is a video from YouTube, and I'm going to mute the volume on it. But you're able to see a lot of her shots in the video are from the outside. It looks like y'all are seeing a blank screen, but I'll share the link to the YouTube video. Oh, there it goes. I underestimated my technology. I told y'all we trying to do bigger and better here at the Fangs Up podcast. But you're able to see quite a few of her shots are from the outside, and we need that. We need as much scoring as possible, and that's a good thing because that stretches the floor. That allows your bigger, taller women. I try not to be a sexist by saying men, to be able to potentially get some recruits and redistribute the ball. Sorry about that. But if she is able to help us generate scoring, as you can see here, that's going to help the team win games. And this is, she has a huddle page, but this is also her YouTube page. And you're able to see, like, okay, she's get out there, get some shots, get open, and hopefully do some awesome things for the university going forward. Now I'm gonna stop the sharing of this here. There we go. And you can see the sound in the background. I do have a sound in my ear so I can listen and I can hear what you hear. But again, those are the two FAMU players from just the last couple of days that FAMU was able to sign for the women's basketball team. And hopefully that continues. Hopefully we get another one or two players that are going to be on the basketball team and that are going to help contribute. We need wins as much as possible, and we need players that are going to help us be able to do so. That being said, speaking of people that are going to help us win and people that are going to help us do so, we're going to go over to the football team real quick, and we're going to go inside the Rattlers den, and we're going to see who's the man, who's the guy, the top returning players on the defensive line that you should know about. Now, first one is going to be that man that scored a touchdown at the Florida Classic, General Hunt. He's number 91. He's a 5'11, 290-pound redshirt sophomore from High Springs, Florida. He went to Gainesville High School. Last year, he played in 10 games, 18 solo tackles, 9 assists. So I got a total of 27. That's when I did the math. Actually, I didn't do the math. I had a Google formula do it for me because that's what Google Forms is for. He also had 5 sacks. He had one fumble recovered and a touchdown. Obviously, the touchdown in Florida Classic, he was booking it. You need to definitely know. If you are not sure who he is, General Hunt is a guy to look out for. If you caught off script and Blue Bloods last week, by now it should be last week, when they did their preview show and they did their All American list, General Hunt was an honorable mention. He was one of the guys that they were like, yeah, we couldn't quite put him on the list of the guys that were one or two, but if we had a third team, General Hunt was going to be there. And I think that that's going to be somebody you want to look for. He's not a 6 foot guy on tape, but he made an impact throughout the season, and he's going to be a guy that you're going to want to continue to look for and keep an eye out because his stats speak for themselves. He's one of the better players statistically on the roster that you saw and that you were able to see throughout the season. And I'm going to pull out my stat sheet on the side here because I like data. So you have to excuse me for not looking directly in the camera and looking here. There is a computer screen to my left so that I can actually look and see what I'm talking about as I continue going on. And the clicking you hear is my mouse. So another player that you're going to look for is going to be Stanley Mentor. And I'm going to share the screen again with y'all so that you can see what I'm looking at while I'm talking about it. Because honestly, I like to be as transparent as possible. That's another computer screen that I'm looking at over here. So I got three screens, and I'm always trying to look and make sure my data is straight. All right. So Stanley Mentor, he's going to be near at the bottom, number 98. He played in 10 games, and I'll see if I can highlight him for you. There you go. And he's a 6'2", 320-pound redshirt senior from Orlando, Florida. He went to Lane College. They're the Dragons. They're, I believe, in like Jackson, Tennessee, somewhere in that area. But they're in the colleges in Tennessee. Uh, that receiver Jacoby Jones came from there. The guy that had those big kick returns for the Baltimore Ravens in the Super Bowl against the New Orleans Saints where the lights went off and he did a little crazy dragonfly dance or whatnot. That guy, he was a receivers coach there for a little bit, but he's since moved on to another university. I don't remember which one. It may have been Morgan State, but I'm definitely not that well versed with his history to share that where he's at currently. But going back to Mentor, Mentor attended Maynard Evans High School in Orlando, Florida, and that is a school right there in one of the main areas of town, not far from downtown Orlando. And he played in 10 games. He had 6 solo tackles, 7 assisted tackles, 13 total, and 2.5 sacks. And that's going to be something you got to kind of think of. You got to consider that these are defensive line. They're having to get past an offensive lineman to get to the sack and to get to the person they're tackling. And so you'll notice where quite often they'll have assisted tackles, and especially your interior linemen are not going to have as many sacks as your exterior linemen. Consequently, you're going to notice where Isaiah Land is going to have a bunch of tackles because he's an edge rusher. I had him listed more so on the linebackers, if I remember correctly. I'm gonna look at my spreadsheet. You can see the same thing I see. Yeah, and you can see in black. That's gonna be one of my guys for the next show that I'm gonna be telling you about to keep an eye out for that you may not have heard of yet. Last guy that I got here that I want you to keep an eye out for is Justin Cooks. Played in 10 games last year, 4 solo tackles, 7 assists, 7 assisted tackles, not assists like basketball. And then that gives us total of 11. So look out for him. He is 57. So he's number 7 on my spreadsheet over here. Again, I like data. I track my data and I use whatever FAMU gives as well. But again, those are going to be some guys to keep out for that are returning, though. We're going to have some new guys coming in, a couple transfers, and I'm definitely going to mention those guys in the next episode there. One is probably going to be Mr. Raymond Cuts, and I'm definitely biased. But that is our live for today, y'all. Kind of try to keep it a little short. Y'all know the YouTube lives are shorter than the podcast. That is going to be on Spotify and Stitcher and all those other platforms, which I will record very shortly. But as always, y'all, thank you for your time. Again, we keep it short on YouTube so that you can continue going through your day. We're going to have a surprise very soon. Unfortunately, they had to reschedule, but we're going to get them going and we're going to talk about some awesome things that are going on with Florida A&M University. As always, it is Fangs up.